good evening and welcome to Modern Spiritualists Live. I'm Aeson, and of course with me tonight is the Hazel Firefly, British's top premium psychic. And tonight we're talking astrology's influences, and especially with this blue moon that we just went through. We have 7 planets in the microwave and everyone is filling like an aluminum foil.
Everything is just chaotic this week.
It is, and it's going to be. The vibrations that we're getting is insane. And you were telling me you don't get it, and I'm like, okay, we'll talk about this on show, because I need to do this explanation anyhow, because I teach a course in astrology. But first, let's kind of talk about some of the crap I've seen in astrology. One, there is not a new sun sign. There hasn't been a new sun sign for 1,300 years. Our elliptical has changed a little on the planets. You know, the Earth is getting a little bit more wobbly. Guess what? It's done that before. So no, you are not a new birth sign. Gen Zers or alphas are not a new birth sign. There's none of that going on. Mercury is not to blame for everything. It goes into retrograde, which causes problems with communication. It basically shows that there's already a problem there.
It just brings it to the surface.
Very much so. It's kind of like if you have a car and you don't get it to the garage to have its bonnet looked at, during Mercury in retrograde, it will break down because you should have took it to the garage. If you have problems communicating, that vibration is going to make you have to deal with people you're like, nope, ain't talking to you anymore.
I don't so much work with astrology, but every single retrograde just tips me over the edge. Where I'm screaming, I'm shouting, the kids are like, oh God, here she goes, a funny turn.
And that is probably because, what sign are you?
Scorpio.
Yeah, you guys have had it hard for about 2 months now. You know, you're the archer, you're always reaching for the higher area. Think of Zodiac signs kind of like street addresses.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you've ever noticed, there's a house on your street, there's always one, that every time someone moves into it, there's a divorce.
Yes.
Okay, don't matter who it is, they move in, there's a divorce.
Definitely.
We have a house on our street. Every time a married couple moves in there, there's a divorce, guaranteed, you can count it down. We have another house that there's always a ton of children.
Oh God.
Okay, and then you have your stable houses that are like your owners and that, you know, they stay there.
Yeah.
So let me use some power of Google, because guess what? Nobody does astrology by hand anymore. They've lost the brain. Let me introduce them to Kepler. All right. So, what do you not understand about astrology, Speedy?
It never really interested me as such.
Really?
Because the moons and the stars, and it's really weird to explain to me, because I lost so many family all at once, and I said to the kids, they're all up in the sky, because the kids were small. The shiniest star is them winking at you. And they work down the star system, like there's Nana, there's Uncle Martin, there's Nana Pat. So to me, that's never, ever.
Right.
I think as well, because I work more with energies, I haven't felt the need to learn about astrology.
Well, here's the thing with it. One, that's a great similarity. You know, that the people are stars or the energies are stars. That works really well. That's on the larger scale.
Yeah.
Okay? That's like pointing to their houses on a map.
Yeah.
Whereas planets are more like your neighborhood. Who's in your neighborhood? Okay, and that energy value. It's like the full moon, full moons, new moons. You can guarantee you will feel an energy change because of it.
Don't I know it?
Okay, that's the closest asteroid to us.
Yeah.
So we're going to get a much more pull there from gravitational flow, biometrical flow, because I'm of the opinion that gravity affects everything.
Yeah.
AKA vibrations are everything. Energy is everything. Everything has an energy. It's kind of like when your son comes home, you can feel he's home before he starts talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing with this. So we got Pluto in retrograde till October 10th. We've got Saturn in retrograde till November 4th. We've got Neptune in retrograde until December 6th. Venus just left retrograde. Thank the goddess. And Mercury's in retrograde till September 15th, Uranus until January 27th, and Jupiter until December 30th. That's a lot of retrogrades occurring.
Yeah.
That's a lot of the dryer running backwards on us.
And that would explain why everything is so up in the air at the moment with the floods we're having so unexpectedly.
Right.
Like we were talking about Burning Man, how I got a client out there at the moment. They've never had rain like they've had.
Right. No. Saturn in retrograde, now bet it's probably talking to another planet that's a little pissy.
Yeah.
And it's causing water flood.
Like with us at the moment, we've got a heat wave going on. And that's unusual for this time of year.
Very much so.
At the moment, it is still 23.
Oh.
And where are we? On Thursday, it's going up to 36.
Oh, fun.
So we'll have roads melting. Yeah.
I hope you head to the sea and just sit in the water.
I got a big swimming pool out the back.
I'm sorry, waterproof laptops and waterproof phones were invented for this weather. Yeah, but, Pluto is quite, everyone kind of gives weather over to Saturn. That's its department. Like when it gets conjunct with things. But if you look at listen to these dates and tell me what you hear. April 1st to October 10th.
All over the summer months.
And your weather has been crazy. It's setting in Aquarius.
Yeah.
And then it goes into Capricorn on June 11th. And then it takes us back to March when old power struggles and former transitional situations will be reopened and re-examined to see how well we learned and grew. Does this not sound like the summer heat?
The thing is, we haven't really had a summer this year.
You've had a heat wave after heat wave this year.
That's nothing compared to what we normally have.
Right.
Normally we have from April all the way through until the middle of September continuous sun. But we haven't had that this year. Most evenings it is raining, and I think it's only the heat waves that's allowed the temperature to go up.
Right.
Other than that, it's been really chilly.
Interesting. Which is, what we've basically gotten is we got a very late summer this year.
Yeah.
I think it was June before we had to put the ACs in. Normally that's a May thing for us.
Yeah.
And then we normally start cooling off at the end of August. But we're looking at temperatures, we're 84 right now. We're predicted to be warm all week. So, that's definitely affecting things. But people's behaviors is where astrology really affects things. How they act, how they behave, what they're having to deal with. mean, right now it's like a lot of clients have X's popping up, and it's like, close the chapter.
Yeah.
You know, Arnie, who should be your question.
Yeah. And I'm getting a lot of clients, they're so emotional, you're having to say to them, look, calm down or I can't read.
Yeah.
Because if you're sobbing your heart out, Spirit is going to be more concerned about your well-being than giving you a reading.
Exactly. Like, please take 3 breaths before hitting that connect button.
Yes.
Deep breaths, like belly, like fill out that belly breaths. So we have Saturn in retrograde. This is the taskmaster. Okay, in the emotional sign of Pisces. So with that, it's a lot of over emotions. You know, are we attaining our goals for the future? Is this relationship going to survive the test? Hello. I'm sorry. Like, I think every one of us has thought about divorcing that are in long term, and if we're out of long term, we're like, I don't want one.
Yeah.
Give me a boo thing for a little bit. But think about this. In your emotional department, how much emotional manipulation have you seen going on since June?
Yeah.
Like, I don't normally use the word gaslighting, but I've had a number of readings. I'm like, the dude's gaslighting you.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've thought about it, but during that time frame, we've had so many clients that we've had to say he's narcissistic.
You know, I hold back on that, and here's why. Because there's narcissistic tendencies and there's narcissistic behavior, and I can't do medical diagnoses, and that falls in that department. What I will say is he's very selfish.
I don't know whether it's because I've been through it, but Kathy shows me red flags soon as somebody is being abused in a certain way.
Right.
So then I say, well, look, I can see straight away he's narcissistic.
Right.
And one woman said to me, I haven't even opened my mouth. And I'm like, well, you don't need to. I read from your energies. You don't need to tell me anything, only your name and date of birth.
Right. And, you know, for me, it's like, yeah, they can give me that information. And I'm going to give them a lot, but it may take us a while to figure out he's not, you know, that he has narcissistic tendencies. He's being very selfish. He's being very problematic.
And I think that's where we differ in ways, because we read differently, so we see different things and explain things differently as well.
And that's the important thing. Is that we both, because if I'm sitting down to get a reading and someone goes, oh, he's a narcissist, I'm going to go, great, he can run a company then, right? Because most CEOs are narcissists. You know, is he going to make good money? Yeah, he's a narcissist. He'll do great in that.
Yeah.
You know, one of the CEO of Chase Manhattan, Diamond, is documented as a narcissist, and he's one of the most profitable bank runners ever.
See, that's where we're going wrong.
Well, I don't think we're going wrong. I think that it's more so different tendencies.
Yeah.
So to add into that love problem, from July till yesterday, at 3:24 p.m., Venus retrograde in Leo will make us long for a big declaration of love and affection and make our wallets thin. This is less about attention we get and more about what we want. And also holds true for money and finances. So with that, you know, is he going to propose to me? Like they're wanting the guy to walk in the silver, you know, in an armored suit and sweep them off their feet and gallop off on the stage. And it's like, you know, back to my comment last week, what do you want? Him to have a fist fight in the front yard with the neighbor that looked at you wrong? What's your thoughts on that one from the energetical perspective?
I'm getting that question a lot, but I also say, and I'm a great believer in this, don't expect it. Because if you expect it and you're dropping hints and spirit knows that you know you're expecting it, that's
Right.
when things will get delayed.
Right.
Because then it's pressure. If I'm saying to you constantly, oh, I really need a new ring, oh, that finger's looking bare, what are you going to do about it? You're going to think, I'm not doing bug at all while you're doing things like that.
Right. Very much so. And not only that, but if if you've got someone that is coming home from work, they're helping you with dinner, they're spending time with you, like they're doing the main day, everyday relationship things.
Yeah.
It's not going to be enough if with this Venus in retrograde. I'm sure everyone thought that their stable boyfriends were fucking losers.
And that's what people don't understand. That all of a sudden they think, oh, he don't love me. Oh, she don't love me. No, it's the retrogrades. These have such an impact.
Right. And it causes you to really think, okay, what do I really want out of this? And here recently I've found that I am so different from a lot of people. Like a dude ringing my phone every time I turn around, he better be a paying customer.
Yeah.
Asking for a reading, not trying to get me to talk about his day.
Yeah.
I'll talk about his day when he takes me out on Friday night, not every day of the week. Texting me good morning, I don't touch my phone till after 10:30. It's way past morning, dude.
Yeah. And even I know that.
Yeah. Like there ain't no need to message me. Because I start my day and I do what I call a power morning, and we'll write that on our post-it note. Let's talk about power mornings, like really setting yourself up for a good day.
Where are we? There we go. I got my power morning Friday morning because I got my B12 jab.
Yay! Okay, so while we're all reading romance novels on the 23rd of August to September 15th, Mercury decides to go popping off in Virgo and bringing back exes and old flames. The transit can bring us face to face with the past, both the good and the bad. So, guys, let's make this really clear. If your exes come back into your life, one, you got unfinished business, fix that shit. Two, expecting to export himself somewhere around the 16th of September.
16th of September. Oh, and that's a Saturday.
Uh-huh.
That's a weird month because around September, people are now starting to think ahead.
Right.
For the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think September is a wobbly month for everybody.
Right.
Because it's in September, people think, oh, what can I do for Christmas? I can't afford that. I need to do that. But I think that's all actually going to be a good one for us to talk about as well.
Okay.
Putting pressure on what you feel you need to do for people.
Uh-huh.
And what to do for yourself.
Exactly. I think we need to talk about that one. I'll post-it note that one down. Guys, we're building a content calendar as we're talking here because this opens up a lot of things. I think we also need to talk about boundaries because, I don't know, people aren't going to like me, but I don't do Christmas presents. I'll fix you your favorite dish at dinner, and I'd rather sit there and watch a movie.
Do you know what I've done this year for Christmas? Because obviously, with our job, we don't know how our finances are going to be.
Right.
I buy gift vouchers for everyone.
How interesting.
Because everybody is struggling financially.
Uh-huh.
So by giving them a gift voucher, that's where they can use that for themselves.
And get what they want.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I always buy for the supermarket.
I think that's probably the best one. Like, I'm sorry,
Because
you know,
our supermarkets sell everything like yours do.
right?
And I think by doing that, if somebody is a bit brassic one week, they know they can still buy food and they're covered.
Exactly. Even though they should have at least a month's worth of food in the cupboard, but we'll talk about
Yeah.
that. Um, but no, there's a lot of like insecurity coming up in this later
Yeah.
Zodiac. It's like, first one up is Uranus. The planet of change takes baby steps to evaluating when in retrograde in Taurus. Do not do not expect major waves or growth during this time. Take life one day at a time to avoid frustrations from risings during this planetary retrograde.
Retrogrades are strange
Yeah.
because with me, if I don't feel the retrograde,
Uh-huh.
something in the house will break instead.
Mm-hmm. How is your now? My plans have changed like 5 times for this fall quarter. Like we were going to
Yeah.
take off, we're not taking off. We were going to travel, we're not traveling. I was going to go up and teach 3 classes. Now I'm doing a summit. It's this back and forth. Our companies have done the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our housemates have done the same thing. That indecisiveness, and it's like I'm writing everything in erasable ink.
Yeah.
And that's Uranus over in Taurus, which is normally like Mr. Stable. For those that are looking at the neighborhood model, this is the mom and the dad that have like everything planned out. It's November 27th. Suddenly things, Christmas appears like water at their house, and their house is covered in it. They have your birthday card in your mailbox every month. They have, well, every year, like they have everything down stable.
And do you know, this is going to sound really weird, but that's what I like.
Uh huh.
I got to have routine.
Uh
If
huh.
I haven't got routine, I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? It's
Right.
like my calendar, I've got everything written on. I've
Uh
got
huh.
my son's dentist appointments, my nails,
Uh
and I
huh.
do that the last day of every month.
Uh huh. To set up the
And
next.
if I don't do that, I feel like I'm missing something.
True, same. But see, with this Uranus, it's always been, it is we're just going to take it one day at a time. We're just going to
Yeah.
see how things go. We're just going to see where things are at. Now, this big one, Jupiter in retrograde. Jupiter is in retrograde in Taurus. So the planet of money and benefit is in the house, we'll call it the bank house, throwing a pissy fit. May prove beneficial. This transit urges us to make calculated risks instead of jumping all in without looking. Basically, it's time to call. It's time to call and read the fine print.
See, I'm the complete opposite when we're going through a retrograde. I seem to cut myself off from everyone.
That's what's called recovery.
I do that because I just want to be on my own.
Exactly.
Like I said to you, I hadn't left the house for 2 days, and I've got to make myself go out tomorrow.
Yes. At least out to the
As
pool
weird as
house.
that sounds.
Well, no. No, honey, it's actually highly important to get out, to know the energy. So, like right now, if you sign a contract, read the fine print, make sure there's not a loophole in there that says that, you know, if you're 2 days late after something, they can do X, Y, and Z. That's what this retrograde is about. The
Right.
Jupiter one. But it's also the one that is very much playing with our money.
Yeah.
The stream, the financial flow is not like every Thursday, I have 14 clients. Every Friday, there's 14 clients. It's up, down, around, circles, back and forth, emergency calls. You know, networks going, can you please just work an extra 5 hours this week? We are so flooded. Can you work 5 hours?
I would actually, you're going to be proud of me, have to say, no, I work too many hours.
Exactly. When you're a premier psychic, you're going to be really busy. And it's understanding that. All right, guys, let's take a break, and we'll be right back, okay?
I found out that my husband had been cheating on me, and my whole world turned upside down.
I stressed over any and everything, constantly waiting for the next shoe to drop.
I was attracted to a psychic advisor to get clarity.
I was like, there's no way that's real. But the things that were coming up felt so accurate.
I really need that unbiased, non-judgmental advice. If there's some part of your life that is not quite fitting in, you maybe want to try something that you haven't tried before.
Try psychic reading on your phone. Your first 3 minutes are free. First, choose a topic or method. Second, choose a psychic. Third, start a call or chat. The first 3 minutes are on us. Install Zodiac Psychics now. Talk to a gifted and trusted psychic advisor.
All right. So let's talk about the application of this.
The what? Sorry, I missed that.
The application.
Right, go on.
All right. Excuse me while I be someone's passenger passway. There we go. So how do we use this? How do we use this information? You don't have to do astrology to use the information from it. I mean, we all get emails. Every platform imaginable sends emails. All of ours do. Mercury's in retrograde, and you apply it. So when Mercury's in retrograde, we ain't buying technology. We're not signing new cell phone contracts.
I just say, rather than go too technical, sorry, I can't take you serious. Mine sits up there as well when I'm working. You'd be tapping your shoulder now.
She probably will.
I always say, we're going through a retrograde at the moment, you're going to be a bit wobbly.
Right.
Because I think that's the easiest way to explain it, because some clients don't understand what it means.
Right, but you have to understand which department. Example, Mercury in retrograde is communication.
Yeah.
Okay? Uranus is long-term plans. So, when you have a retrograde that you got to deal with, example, Pluto, and, them being very wobbly, it's like, oh, old power structures, old problems. Well, gee, my old boss just connected with me to see if I remember the password to their website. Hello, Pluto. Thanks for delivering their issue.
It's funny you should say that, because my son phoned me last night and said, Mum, I've got the engineer coming out to fix my washing machine tomorrow. Can you be at mine?
And
it's like, I can't, but I'll send your brother.
That works. Now,
it's weird, isn't it?
It is. It's very weird how the gravitation affects things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, what do? You work with it. You use it to your benefit. Your ex comes back, great. Maybe you can get your favorite t-shirt back.
Yeah. It's hard because a lot of clients don't understand about retrogrades. I'm sorry, I can't help laughing with that paw. Is she tapping you?
Yeah. She wants this. Um, you think you're a dog, behave like one. She does.
Oh,
She was raised on a border collie, so she thinks she's a dog. She's trans species.
do you know, I found our kitten and the dog are now fighting over the dog's food.
Yes. The cat will eat
Even though we
it.
feed them in separate parts of the house.
Doesn't matter.
No, it don't.
Put them beside
It
each other.
don't.
They'll eat each other's food.
Yeah. And our cat won't drink out of his water bowl. He got to drink out of the dog's water bowl.
It's fresher.
Oh, drives me mad.
Uh-huh. See, okay, in clarification, I have 3 dogs and 1 cat. Okay? We were really good, super adult, pet parents. Everybody had their same one, had different water bowls, different food bowls, different foods, different specialties of foods. They all have different treats. This is what has occurred over the past 2 years. Because that's what we got our Australian Shepherd, and like everything was, the only thing that has changed is the cat and the Australian Shepherd do not agree with each other. They speak different languages.
Right.
The Border Collie is kind of like a Golden Retriever. He does whatever. However, the Pomeranian and the cat have decided they are running the household. The oldest and the youngest. The cat will not drink out of the cat's bowl. She doesn't like the cat kibble, no matter what brand we buy. So guess what we don't buy anymore?
Cat kibble.
Cat kibble. She will eat the dog's food. The Pomeranian, we literally caught them swapping. So we would feed the Pomeranian toy soft food. We would feed the cat food. We put it down. They're fed in separate rooms, separate areas. We walk out of the room to go do something, come back. The cat is eating the Pomeranian's food. The Pomeranian is eating the cat's food. Fine. You each get to swap foods each day. We don't care. We went from having 4 water bowls to having 1 water bowl because the other 3 were not being drunk, but 1 bowl was constantly empty. So I'm like, fine, done with that.
Our cat don't go outside. If he do, we put him on like a lead so that he got roam of the garden, but he can't jump out of the garden as such.
Right.
So, and then he comes inside. But then last week I found the dog digging in the cat's litter tray.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, get out of there because you refill it.
Exactly. It'll happen. It'll happen. And it'll like, no, knock that off.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's very crazy. It's also very complicated because they work out their own communication.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last Christmas, I was being very happy homemaker. I went and I baked a beautiful, from scratch, like I took the pumpkins and cooked them all the way down, pumpkin cake, right?
Right.
It's sitting in the cake tin on the counter. We go to bed. We wake up the next morning. There is no pumpkin cake. There is no pumpkin cake pan. The cake tin, gone. I find the cake tin hidden in the dog kennel.
Right.
And the border collie has a stomach ache. The only thing we can figure out is this one knocked it off, pushed it off the counter till it fell. He ate the cake kennel, the cake, and possibly gave some to the Australian Shepherd, and then took the pan over to the Australian Shepherd's kennel and hid it in there.
Oh.
Yeah, this is the workout they've got.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I tell you what I done one year when I was with my ex-husband. He'd
Uh-huh.
really pissed me off. And I'd cooked a gammon thing and I'd left it on the side for it to cool.
Uh-huh.
And when the kids were little, they had a cat.
Uh-huh.
And the cat had dragged it onto the floor, dragged it around the kitchen and eaten some of it. So I kept the bit off the cat had chewed and put it back on the plate for him.
Hey, that'll show him to stay out to come home for dinner on time.
I divorced him 2 years later.
Well, I was surprised you waited that long.
True. I think it was then I realised I hated him.
Yeah, very much so. That's all right. So I believe you probably grew up during this time when canned food, sometimes the labels wasn't so clear.
Yes.
Yeah. So my aunt had a ex-husband that he at the time was a current husband. She was tired of it. She was just waiting to get her promotion at work to get rid of him. And he was real stuffy about having his lunch packed. So for about 9 months, the man had Friskies tuna salad.
Oh! Oh my God!
He never knew. Like he even after their divorce, he complained to the children that he missed his ex-wife making dinner. Making his lunch.
Oh my God! See?
These
How
are the things
crazy is that?
Huh?
How crazy is that?
Totally. I mean, but that's what happens with relationships. Especially when they're in a position where they can't divorce. For
Yeah.
financial reasons. Back in the day, there wasn't plans for wives to get like alimony and that type of thing. So they had. I mean, you guys didn't get divorced till when?
My mum got divorced. She'd be 76 now. I think my mum got divorced about 54 years ago.
1969 was the Divorce Reform Act.
Right. And she divorced when I was 2.
Uh-huh.
And I'm 50 this year.
Yeah. Like, I think she was waiting for the law to pass, wasn't she?
I think she was. But she was only... I think she got married when she was 18.
Right. It had been legal for 6 years.
Yeah.
Why? Well, that explains it, because at that time, you couldn't end a marriage until you were separated for 2 years and both parties desired the divorce, or you had to wait 5 years if only one party desired the divorce.
I'll show you how young my mum was when she got married.
Aww. Doesn't that look like a beautiful wedding photo / prom picture?
/ sperm donor.
Yeah. That happens.
But yeah, I just think they got married too young.
Well, I think they got married too young, but I also think that it was a different time.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
I think that's one of the main reasons that people are marrying later in life.
Yeah.
Unless they're like some fundy organization behind them. People are waiting till they're 27, 28, 29.
Yeah. Now, over here, I was talking to my friend. I think she's 28, 27, 28, and
Mhm.
she's pregnant, and she was going to antenatal classes.
Mhm.
And she said to me, I've stopped them. I said, don't be silly, go, they're good for you. She said, no, because I feel like a grandmother going to them.
Yeah.
So I said, what do you mean? She said, there's kids there, 15 and 16, that's pregnant. She said, and I feel too old.
Yeah. And that's real. And this is what people really don't get is 15, 16, that used to be normal marrying age.
Yeah,
Advanced
yeah.
out, So it happens. And especially with abstinence culture being preached.
Yeah,
Okay, let's get real. That doesn't work.
no. It's, and I think they got married so young years ago because more often or not, the husband went to the armed forces.
Uh-huh.
They had to serve some sort of uniformed service then.
Right.
Whereas now they don't have to.
Well, not only that, but they wanted out of their parents' home. Over here, that was
And
their reasoning.
over here, the culture is have a baby young and then have your own house through social housing.
Mm-hmm.
But not even that's working now because we've got no social housing. There's a shortage of it.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, because there's a lot of, right now, housing crisis going on in the UK.
Yeah.
For multiple reasons. One, your houses keep melting. Two, the population has increased because, I don't know, let's see, your government is freaking amazing. I'm sorry, it is. If you look at the social programs over there comparative to the US, I would move there any day. Here's why. Everyone has health care. No debate on what your income is.
True.
Everyone can get the medical care they need. Not want, need.
That's debatable.
Comparative to here, I drive 5 hours to a doctor. Just a general doctor.
We can't even get to see a doctor. Everything is done over the telephone.
Right. Which is fine.
And then you have, like with my B12 jab, I have that every 8 weeks.
Right.
When I go in to have my jab on Friday, they will make an appointment for me for 8 weeks' time so that they can make sure there's somebody on the premises to give it to me.
Okay. Why don't you give
don't
it
see
yourself?
Not allowed to.
Okay. I jab myself every week, honey. That's why I'm like, what?
Because the dose I take is a strong dose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to be delivered by a medical practitioner.
Interesting. Okay. But again,
And then,
you have that access.
I do, but if I didn't have that, I would die.
I get that. But in the US, it's like, well, you'll have to deal with it.
Yeah. But we can't see a doctor. And if we need a hospital appointment, the minimum waiting list is 2 years.
Okay. At least there's a waiting list.
So many people now are going private.
Uh-huh.
Because that's the only way to work through the system.
Right. But again, there is at least something there. Here, it's like, oh, well. You don't have any health insurance? You don't have $1,200 a month to go out for insurance? Oh, well, you can just go die in the street. Okay. Then there's, you guys have council housing and council, things going on. Like, you actually see your tax money doing more than paving the road out front.
Yeah, because I think I pay something like £1,800 a year.
Uh-huh.
We call it council tax. That covers the local police,
Mm-hmm.
That pays for our street lighting. That pays for us to have our rubbish collected.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a big chunk of it goes to caring for the elderly.
Uh-huh.
I don't mind paying that because the way I look at it is when I'm paying for the elderly, I'm only paying them back for what they've done for us throughout
Right.
their lives.
Right.
You know,
Now,
so I don't mind paying that.
when do you start getting a pension?
That's just moved up. I think it's 68 now.
Still, you get a pension. Everybody gets pension that's 68 or above.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's debatable in this country. You also have better better disability coverage.
Right.
There's laws about how many hours you guys can work there. Like there's national days off.
Yeah. Yeah, like we get bank holidays. But then saying that, not everybody gets the time off.
Okay.
People who work in shops still have to work. And it's
Uh-huh.
up to the companies if they decide to give you those days off.
Uh-huh.
So that's down to each individual.
Company.
Yeah.
Yeah. But most likely, if an employer isn't giving bank holidays, there's trouble with their employment status.
Yeah. I think by law, if they don't give the bank holidays, they have to pay double time.
Uh-huh.
I think that's how it works.
Right. But no. Okay, so you get garbage, sewage, road,
Sewage, we have to pay on a different bill because that's nothing to do with the council.
Okay.
Roads, we have to pay road tax for.
Uh-huh.
And that's done through a separate bill as well.
Right.
Do
Okay.
you pay car insurance over there?
We do.
Yeah, we have to pay that as well.
Yeah. But no, in my opinion, the UK gives more to their citizens. Norway gives a lot to their citizens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what?
Do
Now,
you
tell
have
me, go over what that 1,800 pounds covers.
that covers my refuge?
So your trash bill.
That covers some of the street lighting.
Okay.
That covers
Property taxes.
we don't pay property taxes.
Okay.
This is like our property tax.
Right. That's what I'm sitting here and doing math for, honey.
Right. That covers something towards the police department and for looking after the elderly. And then we have to pay water rates, we call it. That's separate bill, and I think that's £60 a month.
Okay.
Then a road tax, we pay, now that can range from £30 a year up to £300 a year. It all depends on what car you have.
Okay.
Do you have MOTs over there?
No.
See, our cars by law have got to be MOT'd every 12 months.
Uh-huh.
That just says if they're fit for the road use.
Right.
All about emissions and things like that.
Okay. So let's break this down. You're paying about $200 more than I am.
Right.
And you're getting more services than I do.
Yeah. But then we pay national insurance towards the NHS.
Right.
I pay mine every April because I'm self-employed.
Right.
But most people pay it monthly with their wages because it's taken straight out of their wages.
Uh-huh.
And like the income tax as well.
Right.
So it's just weird how things are different.
Well, not only that, but again, it's weird how we're paying more taxes and getting less out of it
Yeah.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know, and getting more stress
Yeah.
out of it because we pay income tax, state taxes, city taxes, property taxes, rubbish bill, electric bill, fire levy, water levy, fire levy, library levy, like all these also levies. And that annually runs me about $2,052. That's rough estimating.
Do you know what? For the year, my gas and my electric is between them £3,000 a year. That's just for my gas and my electric.
£3,000. Give me a moment. All right, £3,000 a year for your gas and your electric. All right, ours runs $287 on average times 12. Oh, you're going to love this. How many square feet is your house?
It's not big. I don't know how many square feet because we don't work like that. We work on bedrooms.
How many bedrooms?
2.
2. So we have about the same bedroom space. We're about 1,200. You're literally paying about $500 less than we do.
Really?
Really.
Bloody hell.
It's cheaper to live there.
I suppose it is in some respects.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, like, what's your fuel? Do you buy it by the gallon?
We do.
I think ours at the moment is £1.69
Per liter, right?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so £1.69 and it's 3.78. So back. So there's 213 a liter. So 1 3. Liter. So it's 3.78 times divided by 1 point. Okay, you are paying so it's 5.07 a gallon. £5 7 pence a gallon.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're paying $3.69 a gallon. So your fuel is a little bit more. But your cars use less gas.
I use diesel.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we over here, a lot of people have turned to electric cars.
Can you get them?
Yeah. Yeah. Personally, I don't like the thought of driving an electric car.
Okay.
The thought of driving an electric car gives me the willies.
Yeah. All right. Since you use diesel, I had to update the thing because it's different. Because I was getting gasoline prices.
Right.
Okay. I went and looked up what the diesel price is here, and you're literally paying 10 cents more.
Really?
Really?
A random one for you. You know, with your schools,
Mm-hmm.
do they finish school at the age of 16 and then continue?
No, they
in
finish
the
at
education?
18.
Right. Do they go to university then?
No, at 18 they're still in high school. They don't go to
Right.
university until they're 18 to 24 or 27, depending on if they're getting a degree or a master's.
Right. Now here, they finish school at 16.
Uh-huh.
They can either stay in education within schools until 18, or they go to university.
Mm-hmm. Or they go to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our universities' fees, because I think it's disgusting that kids have to pay to better themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking on average, they are in around about £50,000 worth of debt after 3 years.
Um,
I think it's disgusting because education for kids should be there to encourage them to learn rather than to go into debt.
all right. So on average, if they go to the state school, it's 8,000. All right, let me give it to you in numbers you understand. So the average degree here is 4 years. And if you go to the local one, calculator, 710, 7.06 times 4. Tuition alone. This is just tuition, not books, not room, not board, not food, nothing else. This is just to go to school. $28,428.24.
It's disgusting because
Yes.
I think education should be something that's free because we're encouraging these kids to learn more, to better themselves. But then when they finish, they're left with a load of debt, which they're going to carry with them.
Right. Well, when I graduated with just my bachelor's, not my master's degree, with my master's, I was $104,000 in debt.
It's disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's with scholarships and scholarships and college savings and all this.
Yeah.
Still was $104,000 in debt.
It's disgusting. I don't know how they expect families to be able to produce that type of money for children to learn.
Exactly.
And let's be honest, you normally have 2 or 3 children that follow each other in that education system.
Right. Well, and see, here's the other thing, and this is the thing that nobody's talking about. You know what we're short on right now, in the U.S. at least, are nurses.
Yeah.
You can go up through that and work your way to a college degree without it being paid. Construction people don't need a college degree. Plumbers, electricians, tradesmen.
Yeah.
Short across the board. Like, it went from the average over 24 being a construction worker in the United States to now 35. There are projects that are on hold because people cannot find people to do the job.
See, I think what we struggle with most is GPs. That's your normal doctors that you go and see for everyday things.
Mm-hmm.
And our hospitals have so much multicultural doctors there. Without them, we wouldn't be able to use a hospital.
Right. Well, that's the same here.
Yeah.
And then what we struggle with is doctors that can be doctors. What I mean by that is that here, it took me 56 doctors. We interviewed 56 of them. My insurance company did, to find out if they would treat me. Because I have 7 herniated discs. As soon as they heard 7 herniated discs, they're like, nope, can't take it. Because they automatically assume I'm going to be seeking pain medicine, and they're not allowed to write the pain script.
It's ridiculous.
Highly, highly ridiculous. But these are all the comparisons. Why, people, and I'm sure a lot of people are going, well, what's this have to do with spirituality? It has everything to do with spirituality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And cultural comparison.
And the thing is, I think it's good that people understand how different parts of the world work differently.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like earlier, I had a client that gave me their birth date backwards. Gave me the year, the month, the day.
And then the date.
Yeah. And I was like, that doesn't feel right. And I said, can you write that out for me? And they gave it back to me, and it was the exact opposite of what they had put up there. I'm like, that explains why I could not get a connection. Now let's start this over.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. So next week we're talking about morning routines. Does that sound good?
That sounds really good.
Awesome. All right, then. We will see you next week, guys. Bye.
Bye.